Welcome to my second video where I'm going to explain what a blockchain is. Blockchain is a ledger, and a ledger is a tool to know which value belongs to who. And like numerous times in history, ledgers have evolved, and this time they evolved into blockchains. First, people write on stones which value belongs to who. They write it on paper not so long ago, and a very long time ago they just remembered it in their heads. There are multiple field areas connected to blockchains and the development of blockchains. So there are multiple definitions of a blockchain. I describe blockchains as distributed, decentralized ledgers that are immutable and mostly open and transparent, and they update themselves at the same time all across the world. There are a lot of different blockchains because every blockchain has its own rules. It's called a protocol, and they have all their own purposes. For example, some are more private, some are more secure, and let me look. Some have different block sizes, and they all have different purposes, like I just said. Now I'm going to change the screen to explain you the inside of a blockchain via the blockchain demo. Blockchain demo, and we will start with explaining what a hash is. This is a hash, so this row of numbers, this is the hash, and the hash is the digital fingerprint of the data that's inside here. So now there's nothing inside, so this is the hash of nothing. When I type some random letters, you see the hash changes. So this hash is the digital fingerprint of this piece of data. When I type my name, you also see the hash changed. And when I type my name again, it's exactly the same hash as the previous time I typed my name. So like I said, it's a digital fingerprint of one piece of data. This is the SHA-256 hash, cryptographic hash algorithm. It's also used by Bitcoin. The 256 stands for the bits. It stands for how long the hash is, and how longer the hash, the smaller the chance two pieces of data have the same hash. So it's more secure. Okay, then we go to that's a block. This is how a block looks like, the basics. You see a block number, you see a nonce, you see data, and you see a hash again. But you see something odd at the hash. The hash starts with 4 zeros. That's a rule. The hash needs to start with 4 zeros to have a valid block. Now every blockchain, when a new block is mined, it gets a number, so that one we are not going to change. There are some transactions in it, and a miner doesn't want to change that. So the only thing we can change is the nonce. Why we need to change it? Because now the block is green, but when I change data, like my name again, you see the block became red. Why is it red? It is because the 4 zeros are gone. So the hash needs to start again with 4 zeros. Only because I want to leave this data in it. So what can I change? Like I said, we can change the nonce. So we have to find the right nonce that is combined with the block and the data gives us 4 zeros before the hash. We can try it manually. No, 1 is not going to do it. 2, no. 3, no. Still no. 4 zeros. 4, 5, 6, no. We can go on and on and on, but we can make it easier than manually. We can mine the nonce. So this gives us the fact that this is a proof of work blockchain. SHA-256 is proof of work, but more on that later in my videos, I think. So you can mine the nonce, which is combined with the block number and the data, a hash with 4 zeros. This one is even 5, but we only need 4. 5 is okay, but we only need 4. So when I change random data, the hash is again not starting anymore with 4 zeros. We mine, he's going to look for the right nonce, and voila, 4 zeros again. So that is how you make a block valid. And now we go to blockchain. We see multiple blocks. We see that the blocks have block numbers, nonces, data sections, all like the previous block. A hash, of course. But we also see that except the first block, so this is the first block, except the first block, every block has the hash from the previous block in it. So you see, no, 00015, 00015, and 12 and 12. So all the blocks are chained together via the hashes. Now why is it? Like I explained in the block section, when I alter the information in a block, so again I put my name in it, the block invalidates. So I need to remine. You see the hash doesn't start with 4 zeros anymore, so I need to remine it. So I remind it, and the hash starts again with 4 zeros. So it looks like there's nothing changed, and this is a valid blockchain because everything is green. But when I want to alter something here, all blocks should be red because this hash changes, and because of this hash changes, this section changes, and because of this section changes, this hash changes, and so on. So let's check. My beautiful name, and you see everything is red now. So that is what the immutability of the blockchain is look like I said in the beginning of the video. This is why a blockchain is immutable, because all the hash of all the blocks are chained together via the hashes. And the further you go back into the blockchain, the more blocks you need to remine to get a valid chain. Because now, when I changed only one block, only one piece of data, I need to mine this block to get a good hash with that starts with 4 zeros. It takes some time, and there we have it. So now this hash is good again, but this hash is still not good. You see here is the good hash of the previous one. We also need to mine this block to get a valid block again. Now this one was a bit faster. We need to mine every block again to get a valid chain, because I only changed one piece of data. So the further you go back in the blockchain, the more and you alter something, the more blocks you need to remine. And mining is power and time consuming. So, and the power from the mining hardware costs money. So the further you go back into the blockchain and want to alter something, the more it costs you. So that is what the immutability of the blockchain looks like. Let's go to distributed. 3 exact copies of a blockchain. So pair A is a copy of pair B and pair C. The pairs we can call nodes. So this is a distributed blockchain. And in a real time, they can be distributed all over the world. For example, pair A is in Africa, pair B is in Russia, pair C is in America. You don't know, but they are all complete copies of each other. And to check that, you only have to look at the last hash. So is this hash the same as this hash? Yes, it is. And as this hash? Yes, it is. That is because of the connection of the blocks. So when I change this, like I said in the previous sections, all the blocks became red, like we've seen. So I need to remind it. I need to remind all the blocks to get a green chain again. This takes a time. There it is. So they are almost all green again. Now they're all green again, but we look at the last hash and it is not the same anymore. So we have a valid chain, but we have not the same chain anymore. There's no consensus now. How do they reach consensus? So in the real time, it will happen sometimes that you have 2 different blocks at the end of a chain. It's called a fork, soft fork. And to reach consensus again, it's done in a democratic way. So in this case, we only have 3 nodes and 2 are behind this chain, this source of truth, and 1 is behind this chain. So it's very simple because of here are 2 and here is 1 behind the chain. They will choose for 2. In real time, with Bitcoin, for example, because of there are more nodes behind this chain, there's more power behind it, more power to mine the next block. So the next block behind this chain will come faster than behind just this chain. So this chain eventually becomes longer, becomes the longest chain, and when it happens to become the longest chain, all of the other nodes, in this case only the 1 node, will come behind the right chain, the longest chain, and there is consensus again. That is the longest chain principle of Bitcoin, and with that Satoshi Nakamoto solved the Byzantine general's problem. We missed something because the data input in this blockchain, we can put everything we want in it, but to have a real valuable blockchain, we need something in it. We need coins, tokens, like Bitcoin. Here you can see a blockchain, a distributed blockchain with transactions in it. So in the previous chains we could input all the kinds of data we want. In this chain we can only put in transactions, and there are only transactions in it, so you can see only transactions and no balances. So how does a blockchain knows the balance of each pair, each entity that uses the chain? We can go to this section, here we can see that the chain, here we have all transactions, but in the first blocks of the chain, we can see also a transaction, but that's the first transaction. In a real-time blockchain, you can say that this is the block reward. So when you have a new block is added to the chain, it gives a block reward to the miner who mined the block. So let's say this is a block reward. So in this we call the token dollar. The block reward is $100 and Anders mined this block, so the $100 goes to Anders. This block is also mined by Anders and the $100 goes also to Anders. So Anders has now $200. Here you see transactions from Anders to other pairs, 10, 20, 15 bucks to Sophia, Lucas, Emily and Madison. So not only Anders has money now, also Sophia, Lucas, Emily and Madison have money. In the other blocks, the money is spent again. Anders got another $100 like in every block, so Anders is the miner of every block, we could say. And the other pairs are transacting the money to each other. When we look at the last block, Jackson gives $2 to Alexander. Now we can check to look back in the chain. We can check if Jackson really got the money. Here Jackson gives to Ryan, Sophia gives to Jackson, but Jackson is still -7. Here 2 people give money to Jackson, $15 in total. So we could say that Jackson, or we could see that Jackson has the money. To know the balance, you can trace all the transactions back to the first block, like you see now. Okay, that was my explanation of the blockchain.